So I can't believe that one of my stories is on a podcast that a lot of people listen to. It's just like, what? Hi my beautiful stars, or should I say spooky pals. Today I'm coming back at you with a Spooky Story Sunday installment. It's been quite a while since I've done one. I've got my coffee. I got a free one today at Dunkin', so that's always great. I have the 11 most haunted places in Rhode Island. So the Conjuring House is known to be in Rhode Island. I love watching Sam and Colby's videos. They have done the Conjuring House twice now, I think. It's just scary. So I've done a lot of paranormal videos on my channel. If you want to watch those, I'll link them up in the cards, and there's also some playlists on my channel. If you are new here, my name is Molly. I'll keep this quick. I create lifestyle, fashion, book, ghost videos, etc. on this channel. Kind of a big pot full of different stuff that I like. Stick around and subscribe, like this video if you like it, and let's get into it. So I want to start off by saying that this all goes towards hauntedrooms.com. I'll link their blog and website down below. I am simply reacting and reading these stories. I am just the narrator of these stories. I don't claim to have done any of the research on this at all. This is just for entertainment value, and I will have all of the links that I ever use down below, as you already know. So all credit goes to them and the writer. Doesn't say who wrote this, but if it does at the end, I'll share that, of course. And I also have some exciting news that I'll share at the end of this video. Starting off with number 11 is Fort Weatherville, Jamestown, and I am sorry if the pronunciation of some of these towns or names come out wrong. I'm not from Rhode Island, so I'm not familiar with these places, but I'm trying my best. Fort Weatherville is one of the most haunted places in Rhode Island, and it is said to be haunted by a phantom dog that has been seen since back in the Revolutionary War era. It is said that when the British took control of the fort in 1776, they were terrorized by a black dog who prowled the entire fort. In British folklore, a black dog is said to be an omen of death, so they were understandably unsettled by his appearance. He is still spotted on occasion at Fort Weatherville, usually glaring at people before disappearing through a wall. He can also be heard growling, barking, and howling on occasion too. Moving on to number 10 is Seaview Terrace, Newport, Rhode Island. You might recognize the outside of Seaview Terrace since it was used for exterior shots in the gothic horror television show Dark Shadows. However, the property doesn't just look creepy, it is also considered to be one of the most haunted houses in Rhode Island. The building has an interesting story. The house was originally built in Washington, D.C., but in 1907, liquor millionaire Edson Bradley decided to move his mansion to Newport, Rhode Island. I've heard that moving houses, like actually picking them up and like moving them, is not cheap. So, I mean, he's a millionaire, so he has the money for that. It was completely disassembled and relocated to the existing Seaview Terrace in Newport. The entire process took 2 years to complete and involved merging the two buildings into one. It later became an all-girls summer boarding school, and it is now said to be one of the most haunted places in Rhode Island, with several ghosts in residence. The most prominent spirit said to haunt this property is the original owner's wife, Mrs. Bradley. She loved her home and has no desire to leave it. She is often seen playing her favorite SD organ, while others have experienced various strange noises like phantom footsteps, disembodied voices, and banging. And it says that there's also been dark shadows seen and jiggling door handles. Number 9, this is not shocking. It's the Perrin House, the Bearville, aka the Conjuring House. So this is the real Conjuring House where everything happened to the Perrin family. The Perrin House is very famous thanks to the movie The Conjuring. The film was based on true events that occurred in the home of Roger and Carolyn Perrin. Not long after the couple and their daughters moved into the home, they started seeing terrifying apparitions. Mrs. Perrin once woke to find an old woman in a gray dress with her head hanging at an awkward angle standing over her bed. Famed paranormal experts Ed and Lorraine Warren were called in and concluded that this was the spirit of Bathsheba Sherman, a Satanist who sacrificed her own daughter to Satan before later hanging herself in a ritual to bind her soul to the property. Number 8. Belcourt Castle, Newport, Rhode Island. Belcourt Castle is a mansion in Newport which is said to be haunted by a phantom monk. One of the most common reports of paranormal activity coming out of Belcourt Castle is in relation to 2 haunted chairs. That's right. If you happen to visit Belcourt Castle, then you may want to take care where you sit, because there are 2 haunted chairs in the mansion which are said to be forcibly eject anyone who attempts to sit on them. It has also been said that there is a haunted suit of armor in the house. Very freaky. Number 7. Chestnut Hill Cemetery, Exeter. Chestnut Hill Cemetery has gained a reputation as one of the most haunted locations in Rhode Island, largely thanks to the tomb of the alleged vampire Mercy Lena Brown. Mercy, her mother, and 2 of her siblings all died of consumption. This was during a period when there were a great deal of hysteria surrounding vampires in New England, and rumors persisted that one of the Browns was one of the undead. This hysteria led to the family's bodies being exhumed. Mary and the others were decayed as would be expected, but Mercy's corpse was perfectly preserved and her hair had even grown longer while buried. Her heart was instantly cut out and burned to stop her rising from the grave. Since then, Mercy's ghost has been seen around the tomb wearing a dirty, ripped gown. On one occasion, a visitor in the cemetery managed to record Mercy's voice in EVP form saying, "Please let me rest in peace." Number 6, the Breakers Mansion, Newport. Cornelius Vanderbilt had the stunning Breakers Mansion built in Newport during the Golden Age, which was 1900 to 1929, and to this day it remains one of the best examples of the era. It has formal gardens, a private beach, and a stunning view of the Atlantic Ocean. It is now one of America's largest national historic landmarks and one of the most haunted mansions in Rhode Island. It is to be haunted by the ghost of Alice Vanderbilt, and her ghost has been seen regularly in the mansion since her death in 1934. She is seen as the same and fits how she would have looked prior to her death. The family living there now says that there has been a near constant presence, but they will not allow any investigators access as they know who she is and do not wish to disturb her. It is her home every bit as much as it is theirs. I really like that. That's sweet of them. Number 5 is Nathanael Greene Homestead, Coventry. Nathanael Greene Homestead in Coventry is former residence of famed Revolutionary War General Nathanael Greene. It is considered to be one of the most haunted buildings in Rhode Island, thanks to a range of spooky activity, including phantom footsteps, disembodied screams, and doors that open and close on their own. 4. City Hall, Providence. Providence City Hall is known to be one of the most haunted places in Rhode Island. I think we're seeing a theme here. Staff have seen chairs moving by themselves, and they've smelled cigar smoke, unexplained whispering, and empty rooms. The list goes on. The paranormal activity is said to be caused by the ghost of the late Mayor Doyle, who is actually buried in the building. Ooh. Interesting. Number 3 is the Ladd School, Exeter. The Ladd School was founded back in 1908 as a school for the feeble-minded. Over the years, it became a home to criminals and other undesirable people who society felt would be best removed from the general population. This included everything from the mentally ill to promiscuous women. The school became known for horrible and often immoral acts against those who were being cared for. This included forced sterilizations and other barbaric treatments. That's horrible. It's actually now an abandoned building, and it's known to be one of the most haunted abandoned places in Rhode Island. It is common for electronic items to be drained of power, and visitors have heard both screams and voices coming from inside the empty buildings. Number 2, Cumberland Public Library in Cumberland, Rhode Island. Cumberland Public Library, also known as Edward J. Hayden Library, is said to be haunted by a phantom monk, which makes a lot of sense given that the property was once a monastery. One common report of paranormal activity in the library is that books have a habit of moving from one place to another. Many of the people that live locally actually believe that it's not just a mansion itself that is haunted, but the entire surrounding area. Locals believe that the surrounding area is actually haunted by militiamen, which is really interesting. And they hear screams, so also very interesting. And now to number 1, which is the Biltmore Hotel in Providence. I've actually heard of this before. The Biltmore Hotel in Providence is said to be one of the most haunted hotels in Rhode Island. It was named as America's most haunted hotel in 2000 and was apparently an inspiration for Robert Bloch's Bates Motel and played a role in Stephen King's creation of the Overlook Hotel in his book The Shining. When you look into the hotel's history, it is easy to see why. When the Biltmore Hotel was first built, it was backed by prominent Satanist John Lees Weiskopf. It is said that in the early years that there were many satanic rituals conducted on the property, including some involving sacrifices. The hotel also became a hotspot during Prohibition, and a number of high-profile murders took place amidst the rowdy parties involving police officers and even the mayor. All of this has led to a range of paranormal activity. Guests often hear the sounds of rowdy parties coming from empty rooms. This is even long after the hotel bars have closed. A strange report has been connected to the hotel, and it is that from time to time guests will simply vanish during the night. This started in 2008 when new owners boarded up the basement ritual rooms as an attempt to clean up the hotel. And modern Satanists claim that this is because the rituals were actually for purification and they were keeping the evil spirits at bay. That is the 11 most haunted places in Rhode Island. Comment down below if you've ever been to any of these locations, if you live in Rhode Island, if you've heard of these places. I, again, am sorry if I pronounced anything wrong. I try my best here, and I'll link below, of course, everything down below, and all the sources and stuff are on the screen or they're in the description box. Photos, any videos shown, things like that. And now on to my exciting news. I was actually able to be on a podcast, not my own voice. Nick Ryan, the podcast host and owner creator of Paranormal Mysteries, actually said the story. It's one of my stories I've never shared on my YouTube channel yet. If you want to go listen to that, it is on Spotify, I think it's on Apple Music, and probably a bunch of other places. I'll have them on the screen where you can listen to the Paranormal Mysteries podcast, and also the timestamp that my story is at and the episode that my story is at. But my story is the last story, so if you want to just skip to the end, that's where the timestamp will be. I was really excited to share that story with Nick, and I'm really grateful that he decided to share that on his podcast. Paranormal Mysteries I found a couple months ago, and I've been binging it ever since. I decided one day that I would share a story, so I submitted it onto his online forum. He emailed me back saying that he would like to read it. Just really grateful, and I was honestly kind of awestruck by it. I still can't believe that one of my stories is on a podcast that a lot of people listen to. It's just like, what? If you do want to support Nick Ryan as well as just other people that share their paranormal stories, definitely check that out. It's a great podcast. I really like it, and Nick never leaves anything out. He shares just about everything that people write word for word. Definitely check it out. I'll have everything down below like I've said a million times now, and I hope to see you in my next story or my next video, and I'll see you then. Alright, shine bright. Bye!